Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Amajal Knowles with your JCN News on this Thursday, March 15th. Good to have you with us. Pictet Bank and Trust is said to be applying for work permits. This in the face of letting go several of its Bahamian employees. Opposition leader Philip Brave Davis brought the issue to the House of Assembly yesterday, charging that the government needs to find out why this is the case.
This is where governments ought to at least get an understanding of what is happening to the industry with the bank, and to determine why is it that they would need work permits and at the same time laying off Bahamian workers. And that is the role of a government in protecting our Bahamian workers.
Pictet on Monday released 10 of its employees for the managerial level. According to a top executive, the terminated employees were doing jobs that were outsourced from Europe to the Bahamas. Still, Pictet's downsizing comes as the country struggles to keep its financial services sector alive, particularly following the EU's decision this week to blacklist the Bahamas.
We have to consider whether or not this blacklisting at this time have regard to when we are already obliged to make the necessary arrangements, not until December 18th. Whether this blacklisting is just not a strong tactic to push us to do something that may at the end of the day be harmful to us.
Mr. Davis went on to suggest the government seek the help of former Attorney General Alfred Sayers in terms of getting the Bahamas delisted.
Recalling that in 2002, when we came into office, there are a lot of issues looming large in respect to listing and delisting, and we were listed in some of the areas, and he worked assiduously to ensure our delisting. So we may wish to have him come on board to assist in this regard. I invite you to consider engaging, no doubt, the expertise he would have acquired whilst he was Attorney General in dealing with this matter.
Meantime, the transportation minister is looking to put an end to what he is convinced is a form of modern-day slavery, the whole vexing issue of leasing taxi plates and franchises. Mr. Frankie Campbell telling the House yesterday that records have been compiled since the beginning of the current fiscal period to address this issue comprehensively, that in fact there are plans to soon seek Cabinet's advice to right-size the sector to establish an equitable system for all Bahamians.
Some of them have leased their licenses or franchises to third parties who require them in order to operate. This is a vexing problem which has resulted in often astronomical fees being paid by persons who are leasing from franchisees and license holders, and who often find themselves caught in a vicious cycle and at the mercy of the unscrupulous individuals who often have no compunction about charging exorbitant fees for the continued use of the licenses or franchises.
The minister went on to lament the behavior of some jitney drivers, diminishing the quality of the experience for their passengers.
I emphasize all Bahamians because I found thus far that there are some hotels or hoteliers. There are some other foreign entities that have found their way to become involved in the local transportation system. Let me make it clear here and now that this is reserved for Bahamians and franchise, but Bahamians to be franchise holders.
A clampdown on air hackers, that is those who sell airline seats without the appropriate licenses. The aviation minister has instructed the Civil Aviation Authority to work with the Airport Authority, air traffic services, and fixed-base operators to implement a regime. And according to Dionisio de Aguilar, here's the focus.
Identify and target those individuals with private licenses who are making a certain number of flights daily or weekly that suggest that they are providing a service for which they are not authorized to perform. Mr. Speaker, everyone knows who the hackers are, and I want to warn them, no more. Come into the BCAA and get yourself and your aircraft properly certified and licensed. We want to be able to make an honest living, not operate in the shadows with a business that is endangering the lives of the flying public. Please come through the front door instead of hanging out at the back door.
For its part, the BCAA's Safety Oversight Department has taken these measures.
Evaluating the single pilot air operator requirements with the goal of streamlining the process to encourage illegal operators to become compliant. Institute a more structured on-the-job training program for the inspectors. Conducting various enforcement investigations in conjunction with the Legal Counsel and Director General. Developing a new approved operator seal, capturing the new Bahamas Civil Aviation Authority logo to be displayed on approved operator aircraft. Working in conjunction with the Director General's office on a public relations campaign for the general public to educate and inform fellow Bahamians of approved licensed operators, general safety matters, and a host of other information geared towards timely dissemination of safety information. Audit team leads working aggressively on developing a sound corrective plan geared towards demonstrating the full implementation of standards and recommending practices.
Initial reports indicate that Darren Clark, the pilot of that ill-fated twin-engine plane, was a hacker. All on board, including Clark, died, and the aircraft crash-landed shortly after taking off from Andros on the morning of January 17th. And our final stories are up next.
This segment of the news was brought to you by Alive.